Hi everyone, it's Russ from My Hammers 11. I hope you're safe and well. Beautiful evening in Hornchurch. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification button so you're made aware of any time we put new content on. We've interviews going up daily, but sometimes 2-3 times a day. We don't want you to miss any of the great guests we're talking about, any of the great memories and players, so make sure you hit that bell icon. We've got loads of guests, loads of great fans coming up, including today's guests. It's West Ham lifelong hammer, Nigel King. Hi, Nigel. How you doing, man?
Hey, Russ. I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. I thought I'd go outside. I thought, why not? You know, you don't get this is our summer. I've got 2 days of it, so I might as well enjoy it while we can.
All 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. How's everyone says it, but how's lockdown treating you, Nigel?
Not too well. Good on one side, and on the other side, not so good. I mean, obviously, you know yourself. I've got a couple of animal centres like zoos that we're open to the public, and so that side of it has been terrible because we've lost a lot of revenue. Through visitors, and people are booked in to come and visit us and meet the animals and things like that. And then on the positive side, I work in London for a big. It's like a pest control company. We just deal with birds, so pigeons. So pigeons don't care about coronavirus or lockdown. So they've been just going about the business really nicely, undisturbed. So there's lots and lots of business out there for me, and I've been really, really busy. So I didn't get furloughed. So good.
There we go. So one hand giveth, the other taketh away a little bit, isn't it?
Exactly.
But anyway, as long as you got our health, that's the main thing, isn't it, Nigel? We can always, burn money somewhere. But and obviously football's back. Brilliant.
Yeah. Super excited. It's like we've had a break. It was like the close season, wasn't it, really? And then it's like it's back again suddenly.
Yeah. And, it's a bit like someone's literally just pressed pause on the entire season and they've unpaused it and nothing's changed. Everything's the same. We're not playing well. Arsenal are capitulating and VAR still crap and everything's still the same, it seems. Nothing's changed in 100 days, but at least we've got something to moan about, something new to moan about rather than...
Exactly, I can get back to being miserable again.
Exactly. Everyone's been looking forward to this chore that is supporting West Ham starting again. And that's basically what's happened, isn't it? Everyone's sort of...
Yeah, definitely.
But it is what it is, isn't it? And you know more than anyone, Nigel, if we were in it for the football, none of us would be West Ham fans, would we? Let's be honest.
It's like being tortured for like 40 odd years. You know what I mean? It's what it's like.
It is.
I try to explain to people what it's like being a West Ham fan. They just don't understand.
Nah, they can't. I don't think you can. I think it's something, and it's even like, but it's not just the torturous side, but then there's sort of the community and family side. I don't know anyone, other teams have that. Do you know what I mean? It just seems that, even like the last 100 days, when we've been on lockdown, everyone's, obviously on the West Ham forums and Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's still like it's still like everyone's getting each other through it. And it's still banter and stuff. And I don't know if that's with like other clubs. You walk down the road and you'll see someone in a West Ham shirt. You always go on your irons. It's like you don't know that. You don't know that person from Adam. I get on the train all the time. On the Metropolitan line, I'll be in my West Ham jumper, and there's some random bloke like, "Call your irons." It's like, all right,
they are like that, aren't they? Yeah,
no one does that. I don't see it.
Fans are very much like that.
They are.
I suppose because they feel so alone.
Yeah,
they feel the pain.
they know what you've been through, innit? It's like if you saw a Chelsea fan, they've won the Premier League, meant enough time.
Yeah. Been there, done that, mate. Been there, done that. It is fun though, looking at the Arsenal fans. I mean, I've watched more Arsenal TV than I've ever watched.
Yeah.
They've been bad.
Yeah. It's true. That's like my sort of guilty pleasure when Arsenal have lost is to go onto YouTube.
They're fun though. Fans are terrible, mate, aren't they? At least we give our players a bit of credit sometimes. I mean, they're brutal. They're brutal with their fans.
They really are. And as you said, no, you're right. We have. I mean, we kick off, all the time, but we don't seem to have that sort of schism in the a division in the fan. Well, it's a small one, but not as bad as Arsenal and people like that. It's very much that Arsenal. You got like I can't remember the guy's name. You got the old guy, and you got the others, and they just hate each other. They just absolutely mental. So, Nigel, you mentioned 40 years West Ham. How did it all start for you, man? Why West Ham? Why was that your team?
Funny story, really. So, my dad was a musician from the 60s to 70s through there, and So basically, as a young boy, I was an only child, and I used to get palmed off every weekend. I used to be playing, so he used to like his band and that. So I used to go out with my mum. So he used to palm me off from my nan and granddad. My granddad was a big football fan. Well, he wasn't. He supported Spurs, but like he liked football, and they was every Sunday and that they would sit down and watch Match of the Day.
Yeah.
And I was 7 years old. I was, and my granddad was sitting. He said, "What team do you support then, Nigel?" And I went, "I didn't at the time. I just went, that team there." So, and it was West Ham. And ever since that moment, I supported West Ham. I mean, it's sod's law, really. I mean, it could have been like Liverpool or something, couldn't it? Or like,
but it'd have been so much easier for you.
It was West Ham, and then he took me to my first game in 1977. My granddad took me. Actually, my first game he took me to was at the Valley, and it was Charlton and Spurs. Derek Howes was playing, and that was the first game he ever took me to as a football game. And at those times, you used to sit on a grass bank at the edge, on the edge. It's a big ground. You have a lot of fans there. And then the second game he took me to was West Ham versus West Bromwich Albion, and it was a free draw. Pop Robson scored. I think Devonshire scored as well. But it's a free draw. And the thing I remember most about it was being terrified as a kid on the tube when everyone was getting like that. But that was the first game I ever went to, and it just went from there really. And I was forever like a West Ham fan.
How funny that one fateful day on Match of the Day.
I know, Match of the Day, and that was it. And that's the truth. It's weird.
Brilliant.
Lots of different people's stories how they get into the team. I mean, it was just, and that was it. And that was it from then on.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh my God.
He took me to the FA Cup final in 1982.
Oh, wow.
But like, 1992, 1980, he took me. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
What could have been? What could have been if the schedule was around, the matches were around a different way? We wouldn't be talking, Nigel. You could have been anyone. You could have had such an easy life. You could have been a Chelsea fan.
Yeah. I'd have black hair. At the moment, it looks like someone put me on it's sort of black, but it's at the moment people think
Nigel, any hair would be nice. Any hair would be nice for me. So you know what I mean.
I didn't want to say, mate. Do you know what I mean?
It wasn't this short. It wasn't this short pre-coronavirus. It really wasn't. But I decided to. I gave my wife. I thought she could do the job for me, and so I gave her some beard trimmers. And and I looked like I had alopecia because it doesn't work because it's a different type of hair. I found out afterwards, so I had to go and rush to Lakeside and buy some clippers, queue up outside Boots for 2 hours. But yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, so I've gone proper Julian Dix now, second spell, and it's quite liberating. Anyway, so obviously from then onwards, the FA Cup final would have been amazing because we actually won something, which was nice.
Exactly.
Although we weren't, as I said to others, in my lifetime, we won the Intertoto Cup, European football.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good times. Do you remember when we played Steaua Bucharest? I think Joe Cole was playing.
Oh, I remember that. It was on Channel. That was Channel 5 as well, wasn't it? Because that was on
some
Channel
of them
5.
Euro games. Do you remember the one where we beat Metz 3-0? And so those games were great, weren't they? And good times actually.
I remember the fun time more recently when we were obviously qualifying for the Europa Leagues and we played like FC Birkirkara, Jokerit.
Here and even boring 0-0 draws and stuff.
Yeah, and you played Jokerit, FC Jokerit, but Birkirkara. I remember Birkirkara because the manager, because I had to commentate that day, and the manager of Birkirkara he was smaller than me. He was quite a short little bloke, and he'd actually go out at half time and have a fag outside the ground with everyone else. Because you couldn't smoke in the ground, and like pre-match, he was brilliant, absolutely hilarious guy. And they all, I remember that game really well because they all wore McDonald's. They were sponsored by McDonald's, and I was sat in the dugout with Kyute and Sacco, and they were laughing at their striker because their striker was like he was quite a big bloke. That was the guy that Mark Noble did the hey, you're fat mate, sort of thing to him. But he was an international. He was an international striker. His name was because someone picked up. I think it was Kent Hammers told me it was Fabrizio Mocchioli, and he was like an international Italian striker. And I was showing them on Wikipedia. He's played for like Milan and stuff. Yeah,
have a look at this guy.
Yeah, exactly. and they were laughing at it. It was brilliant. But anyway. So since since 77, obviously there's been some highlights and some lowlights, but you've had some memories. What ones sort of stick out in your mind, Nigel, sort of as great times? It might even be matches. It might be
a lot of my great times. I'll be honest with you. I've been talking to a few pals lately who, they're a bit down the dumps about, maybe we get relegated, and some of my best times were in the 90s when we was actually in the lower league, and we was going to places like Port Vale, and we had and a lot of the players, so you'll see some of the players in my 11 are from that sort of era, but it was a great time for going away, like when Ewood Park was just made of perspex, and you had to walk across like a wasteland of concrete to get to it, and those times when I was going to, I'm a home and away fan, seriously, I go all the time, and but those times were really good for me because there was a group of us that used to go. So we used to hire cars from Gravesend, and then just like these old Fiestas and that, like loads of us packed into it and drive up to these grounds because we didn't want to take our own car in case they broke down and stuff. So it was like there was some really ones that stick out, like Port Vale. We won 1-0 against Port Vale. I think Bish scored. It's raining hard, and I remember their ground. It was like made of corrugated iron. Dreadful ground, and there was we saw Martin Allen in the car park on the way home at one of the services. Just having a laugh with him about how bad it was there. Sunderland, I hired a minibus from a place called Wills in Gravesend, to take a few of us up to Sunderland for the FA Cup game. When John Byrne was like he was knocking in goals against everyone for Sunderland, and we drew 1-1. But we actually broke down about 5 miles from the ground in the lay-by, and we had to hitchhike to the ground.
Oh my God!
But we just left the minibus there in some lay-by, and went home with a load of blokes we met. So there's so many memories. So I was talking to Jackie Hughes earlier about a story. It's actually quite funny. So I'd had a deal with someone over something, and this guy had given me some fake £20 notes, and I was like, I've been done here. So I had these like 40 quid, I think it was, 220 fake 20s. And we was playing Man United at the time. It was the game when Kenny Brown scored and we beat them 2-1. And I was sort of going out with this bird, and I said, I'll take you out of West Ham. And I thought, I'll get a ticket off a tout. And I really hate touts, do you know what I mean? The way they sift the fans and stuff. So we was there, and it's like 5 minutes had gone, and I couldn't find anyone. His tout come up, he said, "Oh mate, do you want a couple of tickets?" So I was like, yeah, mate. I said, how much? He said, like 50 quid. So I gave the tout these 2 bent 20s. And I thought, I've had you over. Went to go through the turnstiles. The geezer goes, they're fake tickets, mate. Can you believe that? That's a straight up story. And it was, but he let me in. He said, and he let me in, but that's a true story. That was quite a funny one.
But that's what I think. I mean, all those stories. The one thing that's the same throughout them is you haven't spoken about the game itself. It's all about the journey there, and that's what West Ham's been about, isn't it? It's about the journey.
Yeah.
As I said, if we were in it for the football, we wouldn't be West Ham fans. And as you said,
my daughter's a big fan, Russ. Now, my daughter's like 22 now, and she comes to all the away games with me. Do you know what I mean? So it's a good thing. We get to spend time together. Yeah. But she sort of got into the banter side of things and loves it. So it's great. And
that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? I mean, it is, and that's why I think, although the football's back on, and that's great for one thing, but it's the banter, isn't it? It's the result is really insignificant, to be perfectly honest. As you said, we still turn up. Doesn't matter what league we're in. We still will, and we'll still moan about it.
We've got an army of fans, and the banter and some of the things that they come out with is, someone can do something bad on the Friday and they're slaughtered on the Saturday for it. Yeah. And so just some of the things, so just someone to start something and you're like, and it's just hilarious. And it is all about the banter, definitely.
Exactly. And as you said, like Jackie Hughes and, you were chatting to Jackie and without West Ham, you guys wouldn't be mates.
Very true.
And that's what happens. And it's this common thread. It brings you. It's in your fabric. It sort of gets in. It's like osmosis. You just sort of, and particularly you, because you sort of like just picked a team, but still, it's like it's in the fabric of everything you do now with West Ham.
And yeah, I mean, I met loads of people. I meet people all the time. Like Phil Nice is a good bloke. You met him?
Yeah. We're getting on the channel soon. Yeah.
He's a funny guy because he's been on set. He's a bit of a comedian and that. He's a funny guy. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you've had on, but when I used to do the bird control at Upton Park, so I used to take a hawk in there and scare away the bird.
Yeah, I remember the hawk. Yeah.
So their security guy there was called Michael Hayden. And he's a quality guy. When I used to chat to him, he used to tell me some of the stories about, because the players used to stay in the hotels. And he'd go, yeah, don't say nothing because, like, do you know what I mean? You'll get me in trouble. But he would be a good guy for you to get on, mate.
Yeah, we'll get him on. We'll get him on. I'll make sure I'm lawyered up first before we got Michael on.
But he's a funny guy.
But that's it. It's just the stories and the banter, and that's what this whole thing's been about. And that's why I think everyone's sort of taken to it, because it is about an opportunity. Because obviously, people like, that story, which was brilliant about the fake tickets. You, Jackie, that group would know, but not necessarily other people. And it's brilliant. And that's what being a West Ham fan is all about. Is sharing those stories. And as you said, there's loads of opportunities, and I mean, I know what you mean. I think my happiest time as a fan was probably, you're probably right, in the Championship, really, because you'd win more than you'd lose.
Exactly. We used to win all the time.
We did. We did. I was talking to, who was I interviewing the other day? I was interviewing Luke Chadwick. And he was part of the 04-05, and that's obviously when we beat Preston. We went on we were 7th, and then we went on like a 10-game run where I think we lost once in the last 10 games, and was winning every game, and it was amazing. But when you go back and look at the fixtures and look at the results, and I mean, Harewood banged in 22 goals that season. Teddy was 20 goals. 42 goals from our strike. When was the last time that ever happened?
I know. It's unheard of, isn't it? I've been lucky, like I say, when I used to do the bird control at West Ham, I knew if they was playing at home on a Saturday, I used to train at the ground on a Friday. So I used to make sure I went on a Friday so I could just throw the bird up in the stands and just sit there and watch the team. And here's an interesting story for you, actually, that no one will know about. No one. So here's the little birds that hover on the side of the road, kestrels.
Yeah.
Right. So I was there in April. It's a close season. And I just finished and did you know there was a pair of kestrels nesting in the stadium at Upton Park?
No, I did not.
And kestrels nest from April to June, right?
Yeah.
And that was when the ground was empty. And they nested behind the screen in the Bobby Moore stand.
Oh, yeah.
I found the nest, and they was eating pigeons and starlings. And I was like, did you know there's a pair of kestrels nest here?
Wow. That's near where my box was, because my box, so in the old ground, it was next to the police control room, so it was literally, above me. That was amazing.
Yeah, but cool. I wouldn't have known. It was only I threw my hawk out, and they went mad because they're protecting their nest. And I thought, where have they come from? Yeah. And they actually nested in the stadium every year.
Oh.
It's a shame now they've knocked it down. They've lost their nesting site, but not anyone would have known that,
And now we do. We've got an exclusive on My Hammers 11 today.
Insider information.
That's what I like.
Everyone likes a bit of that.
And it's lovely, as you said, like, your daughter's like into it, and you go around together, because again, that's what it's all about. It's about passing on the next generation. I mean, my daughter's she's just turned 8, and she's starting to get into West Ham. When she was a baby, I mean, she was actually due on the playoff final in 2012, and I had a cracking seat.
Oh, tough decision.
I had a front row seat.
Tough decision.
I had a front row seat, and I was chaperoning Hammerhead round for the day as well. So it was like a free ticket as well. So so I went to Wembley, and
of course you did.
Sorry, love. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, and again, part of the fabric of West Ham gets into everything. So literally, she was born a few days later. I then knew that the trophy was going to be at Romford West Ham shop. So poor Carol, she's about 5 days old. I've got a picture of her because Eddie, the security guard, was behind there, and I asked him if we could go in. I've got her in the trophy, like asleep in the trophy. She was like scarred, and then she was into it. Then didn't get into it, and then the West Ham women's, so obviously we're very close to Rush Green. And then that's really sort of piqued her interest again now. So I've been working on her, you know, it's sort of like, you know, but it's always lovely when you like you've got a daughter or a son, and you know, my daughter, you know, she's an 8-year-old Essex girl. She's got plenty of clothes, but when she comes down in a West Ham kit, she's picked that one to wear. It's like cockles of your heart. But no, it's
my daughter likes the old West Ham shop, mate. She gets a few bits and bobs. Like say we go to away games that we've been up to, you know, she comes and endures all the pain of going to Burnley. And
I love Burnley away. I love Burnley away.
Blackpool. I stayed in Blackpool that night. We stayed in Blackpool and we had a bit of a laugh, and then we went to the game the next day. That horrible cricket club that took me about 3 hours to get out of. That's up there. And then but it's a long drive home when you get beat by them.
Yeah, I remember I remember going there once when it was in the Big Sam era, and obviously Big Sam, Burnley hate Big Sam more than some West Ham fans hated Big Sam, and obviously you had to walk from the tunnel, don't you, into the middle? You know, it's one of those really old fashioned, and all the team had come out, and I was like, "Where's Sam?" And then literally like 10 strides behind was him. He couldn't walk any lower if he tried, and he just like bring all the booze to him, and it was like
That is an old school ground, though, isn't it? That you know it's a crappy ground when it's sponsored by Oak Furniture Land.
But also the sort of, I find it a little bit indignified, you know, when they have to walk across the pitch to get to it's a bit weird.
It's like, I mean, we used to play.
Yeah.
Like the old marshes walking out like 3 miles to carry the goalposts out.
No one ever wants to do the nets, do they? No one ever wants to.
Everyone skanks off afterwards.
Everyone starts warming up. Yeah, I've got to do my shoes up. What was that? Nets. Do you know what? I'll do the corner flags instead.
And you get the one geezer who plays for the team who carries the crossbar on his own, giving it the big one. Yeah.
Brilliant.
No one wants to turn up late. Do you know what I mean? Turn up. Oh, sorry, that's
5 minutes late. Yeah.
So
that's like. I mean, that's one of the things I think why I quite like that sort of mid-90s period, particularly of my sort of career, West Ham career, so to speak, was because everyone was relatable and everyone you could. And we'll probably get on to some of these players anyway, so I might stop talking about that because we might bring up stories anyway. So anyway, guys, we're going to go and talk about your 11 because otherwise I could talk all day to you. And the only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. That's the only rule. And we'll try and keep it to a 4-4-2 just because it's easier and people can visualize. I mean, some people, if like the football players, they're all a bit fancy. So, you know, when I interviewed like Pete Butler and stuff, he went through a 3-5-2 and I was like, oh, okay, right, we'll allow that, but we'll do 4-4-2. It's easy. So as you said, Nigel, you sort of pick people that are sort of your favourites and
definitely. I've done that. I've looked to who, you know, I've picked a few players who were my favourites when I was a kiddie, and then going through the 90s. It's a very 90s theme, to be honest with you, with a couple of recents, really, you know.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go in goal. Who's in goal for the King 11 then, Nigel?
Well, I mean, I would imagine that most people go for Ludo, and that's who I've gone for.
Yeah.
I only really saw him make a couple of mistakes. It was like against Aldershot when it went through his legs. You probably remember that one from 6-0 up or something. But I actually saw him in Bluewater a while ago, and he was very, forthcoming for a chat. And I said, "Oh, Ludo," and I had a little chat to him, and he was really, really nice fella. But he was a great keeper, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a great, and he was very different. You know, he was the first athletic goalkeeper, so to speak, we had, wasn't it? Because you had like Parksy, and Parksy was just like a unit, and then this guy from Czechoslovakia. Clearly, no one knew where Czechoslovakia was because close. Moscow's closer to England than it is, and he was just like, he was one of those players that he was more like the modern day keeper. Do you know what I mean? Sort of like a Emerson or a De Gea, sort of more athletically built. But he was just big, wasn't he? He was lean, but he used to fill the goal up. You felt safe when he was in goal, didn't you? Thought, this guy can. Do you know what I mean? He just looked big in the goal, didn't he? He took the goal up. Yeah, he was good fun. He was a great goalkeeper. And he had a great song, which we still sing on now. So
exactly.
And that's
exactly. He's a legend at the club, isn't he?
He is. He's a lovely guy as well.
So I think people have, most people I think who go and have looked at some of the videos, and most people go for Ludo. I think goalkeeper is an area which we've done all right in, bar 6 months last year. We've done all right, I think, from goalkeepers.
not too bad.
Yeah, we've done all right with keepers, definitely.
We've done all right. I mean, we got Ludo, we had Xhaka, we had David James, Robert Green, Joe Hart, Fabianski. You know, it's one area I think.
You've left Alan McKnight out.
Oh, yes, did I in that list? Oh, sorry, Alan and Bernard Lamar. I forgot Bernard Lamar as well.
Oh yeah.
So
you know, Lamar.
And Neil Finn. I forgot Neil Finn.
Stephen
Stephen Bywater. He came up today in conversation. So
did he?
Yeah, he did. He came in conversation with one of the players I interviewed. He's come a couple of times actually. Stephen Bywater. Graham Howlett did from These at Mother Brown did a lockdown 11. So he picked 11 players who basically were the wrong side of the law. And and afterwards, go and Google Stephen Bywater when he got arrested. It's quite amusing.
That will be one of my things to do. Actually,
it involved. I think it involved a machete or a knife and a delivery driver.
Whoa!
In his pants or in his robe or something. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but yeah. All right. Anyway, Pat, just put Ludo in.
Ludo.
Right, let's go left back then. Who's left back for you, Nigel?
Only one left back, mate.
That's right.
That's Dixie, mate. That's Julian Dix, mate. For me, brilliant player. I'm very. See, the thing is, everyone remembers Julian. They think, oh yeah, robust, hard player. You know, go through people. Everyone's terrified of him. Great penalties, amazing left foot. But I remember we played Wimbledon once, and the ball got floated over the top. I think bashing or something, and he literally took it down on the outside of his right foot, flicked it over fast in his head, took it on his left foot, and just strode the ball across. And I was like, this geezer's a bit more than like, do you know what I mean? He was a total quality football player, and people didn't see that with Julian. They only saw like the red card merchant. That's all they saw. But he was an incredibly skillful player.
He was, and I know what you mean. Outside of West Ham, I think people saw him as a thug, but inside West Ham, we knew how much of a good football player he was. And that Wimbledon game, didn't he get? Was that the one where it all kicked off and there was a 22-man rumble?
I think it might well have been.
And then he got sent off for going straight through Dennis Rice.
Yeah.
That was when I interviewed Mad Dog. That was Martin Allen's one of his greatest moments in a West Ham shirt. Was that game?
So it wasn't his tackle on Carlton Palmer then?
No, it wasn't. He said it was that game because that game was brilliant because it was just so needle, and it was like I still think about that game all the time. But Julian was one of those players that I said who are relatable. You know, of that sort of 90s era. You know, you could easily walk into a pub and it wouldn't surprise you if Julian Dix was at the bar. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like nowadays, it's like I wouldn't see Anderson walk into Weatherspoons, you know, or you know what I mean? And I think that's why
exactly what you mean. It's where it's changed, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's changed.
And he has that, and Julian had that sort of a little bit Sunday League mentality. Do you know what I mean? Because he has like, the stories are true. He did drink a can of Coke in a Mars bar and then go out and play 90 minutes. Yeah. And that's what we would do on a Sunday, wouldn't you? At Hackney Marshes, that's what you would do.
Well, all the old players, did you look back to the centre, people like Stan Bowles, they used to get like pissed up and then go out and play. You know what I mean? That's how football used to be.
Yeah.
But it's changed so much. They're athletes now, aren't they? They're not
They've
got their own nutritionists and stuff like that. I mean, that would never have happened in the old days.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I remember when Wenger came in and he was the first one, wasn't he? And then they were all like, oh, no ketchup and no mayonnaise and stuff. Yeah. Right, we'll put Julian in. Okay, who's going to go right back then, Nigel?
Okay, I was torn here. I was torn between one of your guests but I liked Schemmel.
Yeah.
I liked Sebastian Schemmel. I thought he was a great player. But I put in Tim Breaker because, he was a bit of, he stayed with the team a long time. He stayed with the club a long time. And and I only really remember him messing up a couple of times. He had an air shot on the edge of the box. I can't even remember who it was against, but I think Gary Firmage put in that Overland and Sea, and there's a picture of him like swinging his foot here. But apart from that, he was a real sort of steady player, and I really liked Tim Breaker. I saw his interview here as well, and I think he's up at Bolton now, or something, doing some coach.
Something like that. He's or Birmingham or something like that. And he's I I didn't have, as I said, it's been quite good going back and looking at all the games because when I was a fan, like in the early 90s or early to mid 90s, he was there for ages. I didn't really think of Tim Breaker in the team. He was just a name. But actually going back and watching it, he was mustard as a right back. He really was a good. He was a good, and I told him that in the interview. But yeah, lovely guy, and they're all lovely guys. I mean, I think they're everyone I've spoken to from that era is brilliant. And they just all give you your time, and it's really nice. But yeah, we'll put the robot, the machine, as our.
It's funny because in the 90s there was the Makita tournament. Do you remember when we was in a tournament with Arsenal, Panathinaikos? We got beat by Sampdoria about 6-1. Vialli scored, and I actually bought a Makita screwdriver and I won a competition to go and have dinner with the Arsenal team. And I literally had to sit there with Tony Adams and Anders Lindmar and I sat there in the Gunners Lounge and had dinner with them. And that was all right. I was chatting to them, but I got to go in the bar afterwards. And Tim, I think they was all in there. Peter Butler was in there, I think, and Kenny Brown. And but I remember that, it's quite a good laugh. I went in there afterwards. But yeah, just another little story there for you.
No, I love it, Nigel. Okay, we'll put Timmy Breaker in. Let's go centre back. So who's your first centre half then, Nigel?
Right. Steve Potts.
Potsy, yeah.
And I'll tell you why. It's funny because you know how reliable he was.
Mm.
And I remember that I went up to my mates, he's a Liverpool fan, we all went up to his house to watch us play Luton in the FA Cup. And we kicked off and we was doing all right. And then we was talking, Steve Potts come on. I said, see him. I said, Steve Potts. I said, in all the years I've been watching West Ham, I've never seen him make a mistake, right? And then what happens?
Yeah.
He completely makes a complete pig's ear of it, and Scott Oates goes through, and I think he gets an hat-trick in the end.
Yeah.
And they beat us 3-0. So I just put it on him, but I'd never seen the guy make a mistake. Do you know what I mean? He was a super player. He was Steve Potts. So I put him in there.
Good man. And as you said, still at the club, under 23s coach as well. It's brilliant to see. But you're right. I mean, and actually, ironically, when we signed Tim Breaker, I think that made Steve Potts because it pushed Steve into the centre back positions. Yeah. And he was a better centre back than he was right back. And someone that small shouldn't be that good at centre back, but he was.
Yeah. He was a good player.
He was very good. Read the game really well. Okay, we'll put Stevie in. Who's Steve going to partner in the centre half positions then, Nigel?
Again, I was torn between Slav and I did think about Alvin, but I put Rio Ferdinand in there.
Yeah.
Like a Rolls Royce, wasn't he?
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Brilliant player.
Yeah.
Brilliant player. And he only got better. But as a youngster, when he played for us, he was a super player. I'd even seen him. They'd put him up front sometimes.
Yeah.
They'd pushed him up, and he was as good a centre forward as he was. He's a really great player. He's great. We haven't had many players that could just take the ball down and cruise out of the defence into midfield and turn it into attack like Rio could.
Yeah.
And he was input. I remember some of the Man United players said, who's the hardest player to get that one-on-one? I said, Rio Ferdinand. Trying to get past him on one-on-ones in training was impossible. So, yeah, he was my choice for centre-back.
You're right. And he's one of those players who are a bit of a yardstick now. It used to be, obviously, Bobby Moore was the yardstick. And then when Rio came, he was the next Bobby Moore. And now it's like, who's the next Rio Ferdinand? And, that's sort of this circle of life. It's like a bit in midfield, Scott Parker, then it was Mark Noble, and it's Deck. And it's like, there's always the next one. But, yeah, we haven't had anyone like Rio who could do that. And, I think, yeah, he was brilliant. And he was one of those players. There's a few of them of that era. When they turned up, you thought, he's going to be good. You just got a sense. And then you got that dread in the pit of the stomach, like, he ain't going to be here for long. It's like, he's one of ours, but he's going to go soon, isn't he? And that happened all too soon, for all them lot, wasn't it? All that, those ones that Tony Carr brought in.
I can't believe we got relegated with that team we had on 42 points.
No.
England internationals, and it's impossible. I mean, how can that happen? Only to us.
Only to West Ham would we go down with 42 points. What would we dream for having 42 points at the moment, Nigel?
Mate, don't.
Still will be all right. 3 wings will be up. We'll say that's my opinion. Okay, we'll put Rio in. Let's go midfield then, Nigel. Who's going to go left midfield?
Do you know what? I've put in. There was 2 players, but I'm putting them both in my team for switching because I liked them as midfielders.
Yeah, no problems.
So Stuart Slater, brilliant when he was with us. Those couple of seasons he had, like when we beat Everton 2-1, and he absolutely destroyed Keegan in that semi-final. But it was the way that he used to just take people on.
Yeah.
And we struggle with that sort of player nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the way we play now, and we, like Anderson should be able to do what Slater done. Slater he was a kid, and he just used to put his head down, and he used to go, and no one likes being run at, especially at pace.
Yeah. But I think that's a modern day thing as well, Nigel. We don't have that. It's. I mean, Slater was, same as like Matty Etherington, and in before him, Lazaridis. There's sort of these sort of old school wingers. Really, we don't get in the game. We don't have.
Mark Robson was a good player, wasn't he? Do you remember him, little Mark Robson? He was a good player, wasn't he? Lightweight, and he was good. He used to go past, but those little skillful players that go past people make a massive difference. But I just Newcastle have got that kid now, that's St Maximin. He's a
that's what I mean. But they're very much. I mean, obviously Traore, we know that full well.
My God!
It was quite funny when he took his top off and when he was changing, and he just had like this for some fucking hell. Yeah, Jesus.
Where do these? I mean, what juice is he on? Do you know what I mean? Do they not drug test these guys?
Incredible. Well, more than ever, to be honest, wouldn't they? Because make sure they're all.
He's enormous, isn't he?
Absolutely.
He's enormous.
Yeah, and and I just think that's. You don't get loads of them in the Premier League now. You don't get loads of these sort of.
Well, the thing is, we should be utilising Antonio like
exactly,
that.
Yeah, exactly.
That is his strength. Out on the right-hand side, coming in, cutting in, going past players, using pace and strength. Yeah, we stick him up front and expect him. And I don't know what Moyes is going on with that. I really don't. Honestly, he's never a centre forward.
But then someone like I think he just needs must at the moment. I think, but with someone like Bowen. No, he's a good player, isn't he? He's a good player.
We tracks back. I ummed and ahed when we, it's like, cool, how much are we paying for this fella? Yeah. But then I watched it a few highlights and I thought the way he cuts in and the way he's been playing, you know what? He looked good. Him and Deck against
Spurs.
Against Spurs, they were good, mate. Declan was amazing, but Bowen, he looked dangerous, didn't he?
And he put such a shift in, didn't he? I mean, he was covering from Fredericks at an absolute mare, and he was covering from all the time. And I just hope that he keeps, because him and Deck, I mean, as a sort of with not Nobes as well, that sort of three. I mean, that's what you want. You want players who are going to keep running for 90 minutes, aren't you?
Yeah, players who want to play for the shirt. Yeah, it's important. I mean, I always said I played football for a long time and a good standard as well. And when you want to win, you want to win. Do you know what I mean? And it's, do you know what I mean? You got to give 100%.
Yeah.
I look at it and I think to myself sometimes when I see these players and they're lining up to take a free kick and they blast it over the bar, I think this fella's on $100,000 a week. And I'm a 52-year-old man, and I could still curl a ball over a wall and hit the target.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're on $100,000.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for not being able to hit the target, mate. That's my own personal opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But if you're a footballer and you get paid that much money and you're that good, you should be able to at least hit the target.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or be fit enough to run for 70 minutes.
Exactly. Or have a bit of, all that training.
Yeah.
God.
It's all right. We've got a rest now for a week, so
Who knows?
It's not like they've had a 3-month rest or anything. They've got a week off now.
Who knows?
Right. Okay. We'll put Stuart Slater in. Who's going to be on the other wing? You mentioned the other winger. Who are you going to have?
I would have switched these players about, but much as people hate him, that you get players who come to the club. I've got one who's going in mid-team anyway, but you get players that come to the club. And I was gutted to see him leave, and I was gutted the way he left the club and his attitude. But I mean, Pyatt for skill and to see he lifted our club from the doldrums. Really, he made us believe, didn't he? And the whole team, if you know, even Cressy, like you look how good Cresswell was a player when he knew he had him in front of him, and the confidence that man put through the team.
Yeah,
and it's just a shame how it ended up. But as a player, what a super footballer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just done things with the ball that, like, you know, and to have people on Match of the Day actually giving us some credit for one of our players.
Yeah.
That shows you how good he was. Do you know what I mean?
He was, you know, we have very, 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 very rarely had a player who was like the man in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? He was like, he was the best player.
Everyone was terrified of him.
Exactly.
When he was playing, people, all my mates who, like, you know, got mates as Tottenham, and they're like, oh, I hope I ain't playing. And you're like, that goes to show you that they know. When he got a free kick, he was like, yeah, this is a goal.
Yeah.
That one against Palace, I mean, how can you move a ball like that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, and that was, I loved him as a player. I thought, you know, I was gutted when he left, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were. But then, you know, looking at retrospect, he left Marseille to come to us doing the same. He did the same thing basically as he did going back to Marseille from us. And you get that without those types of players, don't you? Those mercurial players, you know, they're very temperamental. I'm thinking, you know, Arnie as well. I mean, you know, the only reason we got Di Canio was because he pushed the referee over. You know what I mean?
We buy players when we bought Ian Wright. We buy players when they've just gone past the sell-by date a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Don't we? In all fairness, we do. It's funny you should say about him going to Marseille, because I had a couple of years living in France. My dad's an antique dealer, and I went out there and done a bit of work with him, and we were shipping a few antiques. And I lived near Rennes. Okay, so I wanted to go football every week. So my, you know, a friend I had out there, he said, well, come with me, Stade Rennais. They're a good team in the Championnat. And it was €7, mate.
Wow.
Right? To get in. And I watched the Guingamp versus Rennes derby, and there was, in goal for Rennes was Peter Cech, and up front for Guingamp was Malouda and Drogba.
Oh, wow.
€7, you know what I mean? But I always remember watching us, and Rennes had the, he signed from, what's his name, when he shot with the blue water? Raduchoyu.
Yeah.
Come on, and I was trying to explain to my friends, I said, this geezer played for Ruck, you know what I mean? And so yeah, but the French football was, you know, I had a couple of seasons of, I actually went to see Rennes play Villa as well at Rennes, and when they played them in the cup, and but I was always, I had my Sky on, do you know what I mean, over there, so every West Ham game, but, you know, I used to come back every couple of weeks and I'd get to games, but I used to go and watch Rennes quite a lot, so I still got a little bit of a soft spot. And then Sacco actually signed from a little while ago.
Yeah, so, he did. Yeah, he did. And that's the thing. I mean, also with Payet as well. You know, when he was at Marseille before he came to us, he wasn't like tearing up trees. You know, he wasn't like in the league. He was a good player, but he wasn't getting to the French team and stuff. We made them the player he was. You know, and there wasn't many. And I can't think of any other foreign-based players who have just done that in the, you know, because most foreign-based players, they come in, takes them a good 3 or 4 games. You know, Tevez didn't do nothing for the first 6 months really, but he, like, literally first day, wasn't it, when we played Arsenal, he was doing Rabonas, he was doing all the tricks. It was that
was shocking. What signings, eh?
Yeah.
How could you ever think they would come and play for us, and then, like, boom, you know what I mean?
Do you know what? I interviewed John Pansel, and I asked him that exact question. I was like, right, so as a player, right, you turn up for training in Chadwell, and Tevez and Mascherano turn up. How do you feel? He went, I was speechless. I was actually speechless. I didn't understand what was going on, but that's football. You know, we live in a weird world, and I said, they must have felt exactly the same, because they literally had been like carted off the plane. They looked like, they were hijacked, weren't they? They looked like they were hostages, really. That picture of them and Pardew, like at Upton Park.
You expected immigration to walk into Upton Park and go, who are these two fellas?
So it's like, okay,
lads.
Can you imagine, like, giving them directions to Chadwell Heath? Right, okay, so you go on the A12, you turn right at the Moby Dick pub, you know, ignore the Moby Dick golf course, you know, it's just mental. But again, West Ham, innit? It's just a West Ham thing. All right, so we'll put Payet in. Anyway, back to the team. We'll put Payet in. Let's go into centre midfield. So who's your first centre midfield then, Nigel?
Defensive midfielder, Billy Bonds.
Billy Bondsy,
yeah. Who I saw in, again, in Bluewater. Actually, Marks and Spencer's, buying his groceries. So I had to go up and speak to him, obviously, and he was a great guy, you know what I mean? He had time, spoke to me for half an hour about the team, and so But he was a beast of a man. Do you know what I mean? Like he was a proper no nonsense player, and we need someone like that. We ain't had someone like that for a long time.
No, I know what you mean. So nice. You just hang around Bluewater all the time. That's what it sounds like. You know, you met Billy Bonds. You met what's his name? You Radatouille was in Bluewater. You know, it's like it's all.
I see Teddy Sheringham there as well. So
the place to go. It's the
place to go. Mate. They love it. They got to spend their money somewhere, mate.
Yeah, but you think, but you think, they got to go over the bridge, and they got to pay them. Got to pay a couple of quid to go over the bridge as well, isn't it? Right. From Chadwell Heath, over the A13. But it's crazy. All right, okay, we'll put Bonzo in. Who's going to be your next midfielder then, Nigel?
Trevor Brooking.
Yeah, so my dog's
loved him as a footballer, and loved watching him play for England. Funny enough, the partnership he had with Kevin Keegan. Yeah. I remember the old 1-2 against, the old 1-2, and that goal against Hungary where it stuck in the old stand. You know what I mean? Those things stick with you from when you were a kid, and and you remember those things.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I had this little. It was an old decorating book. It had these big pages on it, and I remember every Sunday. My granddad, we used to get the news of the world, and he used to get all the papers, and I used to take all the newspaper cuttings out of them, and I used to stick them all in the scrapbook. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I used to draw little pictures and that, like the old golf club legs and all that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I was only like 8, 9 years old, and my daughter Scarlett, she bought me a thing the other day. It's a little book, and it brought back real memories because it had all the newspaper cuttings in it.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, I've seen one of them. My dad got one. Yeah.
An amazing thing, but all that Trevor Brooking, he epitomises what West Ham. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's one of the people I've never met. I've met a lot of people, famous people. It's what I do for a living, and the zoo when I worked at London Zoo and all stuff. And I've met a lot of famous people doing things. I met Mikhail Gorbachev and Barack Obama through what I do for a living with getting on film sets and things like that.
Yeah.
One person I've never met is Trevor Brooking. I'd love to meet. Do you know that? But I've never got a chance to meet him in all these years. And you'd think you would, wouldn't you?
I think you just bump. Yeah, as you said, like in a car park.
I'll probably bump into him at Bluewater, mate.
I think you've got to hang around there, Nigel. Eventually, you'll catch. Be like Pokemon. You've got to catch them all, and I think you'll catch them all.
Exactly. Trevor Brooking's he's with Jigglypuff there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just look in there. Yeah.
Get the West Ham go, not Pokemon go. Yeah, or Blue, or go Marks and Spencers, or go up to the House of Fraser at the top, whatever. But you get him eventually. You get him eventually. I'll put Brooking in. All right, let's go up front then. Nigel, who's your first striker, man?
Paolo,
PDC.
He's, obviously, have you seen a footballer with skill like that? Have you read his biography?
Do you know what? I haven't read his biography. Someone mentioned it the other day. Their mum bought it for them when they were like 10, and the mum never really read it before they passed it on to him. No, I haven't read his biography. No.
The skill that bloke had was like, and the things he used to do on the pitch were like the things your mates do on a Sunday, like proper mugging someone off on the line, like flicking it through their legs with a Rabona. I remember him playing against Watford, absolutely destroying it was Darius Henderson or someone. It was like sublime watching it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like that's what you pay your money to watch Paolo. And he loved us, didn't he, as well? And that was the thing.
No, he did. You're right.
What a player. Even when I was still playing, obviously football then, and I remember going out on a Sunday buying a pair of gold boots. Do you know what I mean? And even at like 30 odd years, I go around running a pair of gold boots so he could be like Paolo, it's some of the stuff he did with the football and some of the goals, you know what I mean? Yeah. They were spectacular stuff that you do in the playground and in training that you'd feel is so, so audacious. What a player.
No, I know what you mean. And it's funny, isn't it? Because someone like Payet, Payet's probably the most skillful player I've seen, but Paolo was the best player because he had the skill, but then he had the entertainment. He was, and that's dramatic. What he was dramatic, and that's what we liked. It was like a soap opera every game for him, wasn't it? It was like the villain was the referee or the centre back, and and like someone was talking about the Bradford City game the other day.
Oh no, that game with the penalty and
It was Paolo, but the whole thing was like, that's what I mean. It's like, that epitomised that era, that Redknapp era, where it was just mental. Every game, you'd never go on a Saturday thinking, oh, we got Bradford City. Oh, we're all right. And it became one of the most entertaining matches ever. And it's just, but that happened all the time at West Ham.
Who was that fella they had up front? He had the red hair. Do you remember?
Lawrence. Someone Lawrence, wasn't it? I can't remember.
He had a red skinhead, didn't he? Yeah. That's right. I remember that game though.
Jamie Lawrence. I think it was Jamie Lawrence. If it's wrong, Ken Hammers will mention it in the comments.
Yeah, I remember giving a bit of stick to what's his name, Dean Windass.
Yeah.
I remember called him Squashy Nose or something. He copped the ump. I thought he was going to come and punch me in the head. He was that close, you know what I mean? He literally come across. He had the right take over it, but that's part of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Paolo's box office. Right, okay. Who's he going to partner up? Who's the final piece of this King 11?
Frank McAvenny.
Oh, Macca.
Yeah, what a great striker. Again, great personality. These players had something about them that was a little bit more than do you know what I mean? We always seem to get these players, don't we? Have got real something. Marko Arnautovic was a great player. I did want to put him. I loved him, and when he left, I was gutted because I thought he was one of the best players we've had for a long time.
Yeah, agreed.
They've all got to have these. They've all got problems in their life. Do you know what I mean? Frank, the stories, the cocaine binges, the page 3 girls, and all that. But on a Saturday, he was like, "Yeah, come on," and he banged the goals in. He loved the drama and but. Some of the games I saw him play, I remember watching us beat Luton 5-0 on a Tuesday or Wednesday night in the FA Cup, and he was brilliant. And there was another one where he come on as a sub in his second spell, and it's against Barnsley. It was like 2-0 down, and we beat them 3-2, and he got the winner. And those, you know what I mean? But Frank McAvenny, he was brilliant. I've read his biography as well. It's very good. So,
he's brilliant, and he's a lovely bloke. Have you met him in Bluewater?
No, not yet, mate.
Oh, okay. No, he's in Scotland, so you have to go Muck Bluewater.
Look, don't bother going outside the ground, mate.
I'm just going to hang around there. I'm just going to hang around Bluewater and interview the players. Go with a GoPro and I could interview them all, save having to organise them. No, Macca's brilliant, and again, we've been lucky enough to interview him, and he was brilliant. And the assumption that all footballers play golf, and it's like, but every time I've phoned him or texted him, he's been on the golf course to try and organise. I phoned him up, missed call. Oh no, Ross, yeah, I'm on the golf course. Oh, what's fine? And he phones me back on the way back from the golf course. He was brilliant. I absolutely, he was one of my favourite interviews because he was just so genuine and stuff. And we went on for like an hour before, and we did the interview for 40 minutes. He must have chatted for half an hour afterwards as well. So much time for the man.
Funny guy. And all them Scots are like that, aren't they? They're
brilliant. We had again, I've been in a really, 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 really privileged position in terms of this channel, and
of course, it must be brilliant.
It's brilliant, and when you had, speaking of the Scots, I had Ray Stewart. Ray Stewart phoned me. I wanted to interview
him. King.
Yeah, Tonka, and so I tried to get him on the channel, but he doesn't like doing Zoom. And I was like, fair enough, we'll do it when you're, this is going to be a long-term thing. You can, when you'll get back, you'll be at Upton Park, London Stadium. I wish we'd be at London Stadium, and we'll sort something out. And he was literally, as you said, when Billy Bonds spoke to you for 40 minutes about the football, he then spoke to me for an hour and a half about West Ham. He didn't have to. And then he just went, "Oh, sorry, Russ, I've got to go."
The players are people, mate, aren't they? The players are people. I was at the centre the other day, one of the centres. So one of my centres is in Billericay, funny enough. Do you know Barleylands in Billericay?
Yeah, I know Barleylands, yeah.
Well, you know the Big Bird of Prey Centre there?
Yeah.
I founded that, the farm park. So I founded that. Yeah. So all the birds of prey there. And I was there one day. And I was walking through with one of the birds on my fist, and Ginge walks past with his family.
Well, you see,
so I was like, "Oh, yeah, how you doing?" And do you know what I mean? And he was, do you know what I mean? Top bloke. So you just see them out sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're all so lovely, and they're just normal people. And Ray Stewart made me laugh because we must have spoken for an hour and a half about West Ham and what he'd do to make it better. And he went, "Actually, Russ, I've got to go. I'm really sorry because the tea bags are just dried on the line, so I've got to bring them in for it rains." And it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That's the sort of humour you like. They are good. They are good guys.
They are good. And there was a real togetherness with that team, with the 80 and the 85, 86 team, which you get when you talk to them, because they have so many stories about everyone being together and closeness. And, as you said, it was that personality, and that's changed in the game, obviously. You don't get that sense of loyalty anymore. Now you'll get like Payets, and they have a couple of good seasons. Then, but if you get 3 seasons off a player now, you've done well.
Definitely, mate, definitely.
And that it's a shame. But so as a manager, you get 3 seasons of a manager. They've done a good job.
You know what? I was only talking about this the other day with the managers, and like John Lyle and that. And then the manager nowadays got a shelf life of like a year.
Yeah.
I lose 4 or 5 games, mate. Right, you're off. See you later.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days here. Dario Guardi. How long has he was crew? Dario Guardi.
Oh yeah. Years and years and years.
It don't happen anymore, does it? It does not happen anymore.
It's like, when I interviewed Harry. Harry was he was a West Ham manager for 7 years. 7 years.
You can't remember him being that long there, can you? I remember Lou Macari being manager, and like, so Lou Macari, he was manager. Do you remember that little spell he went through?
But he brought in some great players. He brought exactly. And he brought in obviously he brought in Bish, didn't he, and Morley for Mark Ward, and Ludo. I want to think. I can't remember. I might be wrong.
I liked Trevor Morley.
Yeah.
Have you had him on?
Not yet. I've had Bish on. Morley is someone I want to get on. There's a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch. I mean, I've been very fortunate, as I said. I've been sort of very lucky in terms of people being kind enough to share his phone numbers and stuff. Of course,
but they must love it like we do. Do you know what I mean? Coming on and doing a little bit.
They do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good laugh, isn't it?
It's a good laugh, and it's nice. But to be honest, I'll be perfectly honest, Nigel, I feel more pressure talking to players than you do about fans, because fans, like, as you said, you don't get everything right in your head. But with footballers, it's their job, innit? So it's like if I start talking to you about birds of prey or whatever, and I'm just like making an assumption, you go, no, that's wrong. It's the same with a footballer.
Right, listen, mate, I'll get messages everywhere, right? So we got this baby bird. What do we do with it? I'll get 20 of them a week. We got this, you know what? Send me pictures. What is this bird?
Yeah.
My 100 messages a week, mate. Online, do you know what I mean? All the time. It don't stop. Or, what is this animal? What's this? What's that? Because obviously it's been my whole life. Do you know what I mean? I've been all around the world. The job is let's go with no qualifications, mate. Yeah. Now I speak a couple of languages. Lived in South Africa. Lived in Hong Kong. I lived in France. I lived. You know what I mean? Just because I knew what I wanted to do when I left school. Yeah. I always wanted to work at London Zoo, and I got the job, mate, when I was like in my 30s. Yeah. So I had to wait all that time. So
I know. Although we did have some pigeons nesting in our tree the other day, and my dog's going absolutely apeshit at them. So, which is very rare, because I've never seen a baby pigeon. I could never. No, I've never seen a baby, and I did. Anyway, we digress. Anyway, guys, it's been lovely, lovely.
Look.
Oh my God!
Do you like that?
Yeah.
It's random, mate, isn't it?
It's really random. That's really spooky. Does he live in your house?
No, it's just like I've got loads of them. I've got about 70 owls.
Oh my God!
And I've got loads of. I've got vultures, eagles, and falcons and hawks and stuff.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
This is just like a small one that it's just like I use it for like when I do like encounters with kids and stuff.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, because to be honest, I'll be perfectly honest. I had shut up, Bella. She can sense the owl. That's what it is. I mean, I had again, it's nothing to do with West Ham, but I once had at a birds of prey thing. It was at an event, a day or whatever, and a hawk, or I don't know, I was only a little kid in a pram, attacked my mum's handbag in front of me to get, I don't know what he got. And from then on, I don't know what it was, but from then on, I've had this complete irrational fear of birds.
Really?
Yeah. It's really weird. It's really weird. But then I had the same thing with dogs, and now I've got...
I knew it was going to make you laugh. I thought I'd just randomly bring that into the picture.
But it's the way she sort of creeped in.
Jackie Hughes that told me to do it. She goes, get her out or something, and like just put it on there.
All right, cheers, Jackie. Anyway, I started to like her. Anyway, delete her video tomorrow. Anyway, Nigel, it's been lovely talking to you. We had an absolute blast. Thank you so much for your time.
And thanks for having me on, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure, man. Obviously, thank you to everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. We enjoyed the little nature discussion at the end. And
of course.
And for me and Nigel, everybody, take care, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you all soon. Cheers, guys. Thank you.